Okay, it is now a common complaint that the electronic media have corroded the intellectual skills required and fostered by the literary media. Okay. What's this basically saying in plain English?
Some people
think what?
that the electronic media is making people stupid.
Yeah. It's undermining electronic screen time is undermining reading. Right? The skills you gain from reading. Did you guys see that in your head? Because they use these wordy stuff. Okay, but several centuries ago, the complaint was that certain intellectual skills, such as the powerful memory and extemporaneous eloquence that were intrinsic to oral culture, were being destroyed by the spread of literacy. Okay, so the same argument was made before, that books were undermining oral culture. We're cool with that? Okay. So, what's probably going to come next? Conclusion. What awaits us is probably a mere alteration of the human mind rather than its devolution. What a lame argument. But we have opinion of others, right? Then we have premise, and then we have conclusion. Okay. So the reference to the complaint of several centuries ago that powerful memory, blah, 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 was being destroyed sounds like a premise. You cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you predicted premise before going into these answers.
Yes.
Okay. So it's something about the answers you don't like. All right, let's take a look at A. Evidence supporting the claim that the intellectual skills fostered by the literary media are being destroyed by the electronic media. No. It's not evidence supporting that claim, it's evidence against that claim, right? Are we cool with that? So that's out. B, an illustration of the general hypothesis being advanced that intellectual abilities are inseparable from the means by which people communicate. I don't know where that's coming from. Yeah, that was never discussed. Are we cool with that? C, an example of a cultural change that did not necessarily have a detrimental effect on the human mind overall. What do you think?
So this is one of the two I was hesitating to.
Oh, okay. We always get down to the two, right? Okay. I would keep this open. D, evidence, premise, that the claim that the intellectual skills required and fostered by the literary media are being lost is unwarranted. Okay, I definitely keep that one open. That's what you're debating. E, possible evidence, mentioned and then dismissed out. Is done. Right? It wasn't dismissed, it was used. Okay, so C or D, what do you think?
Well, so I like the example of I like the first part of C.
Yeah.
But then when it says detrimental effect on the human mind overall.
Yeah.
And you look at that part, it doesn't, I feel like there would have to be another sentence between the end of that one and the so that makes that point. I feel like it's just inferred.
Okay. So you don't like the human mind overall part.
Yeah.
The conclusion does talk about the alteration of the human mind, right? So maybe it's being used as an example for that idea. Let's take a look at D. Evidence, what do you think about D?
Well, basically what they're saying, what my understanding of what they're saying there is, people are making this argument, but they made this argument before, so what's likely to happen is it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Evidence of the claim that the intellectual skills required and fostered by the literary media are being lost.
But I guess now that I think about it, I guess if his conclusion says that they are warranted, they're just not as warranted as they think.
Well, say that again. What'd you say?
So when he says the claim by the literary media are being lost is unwarranted. It's not that it's not unwarranted, it's just that it's less warranted than they are saying. So it's not like that claim is baseless because he admits at the end there will be, it's not a devolution, it's just an alteration. So yes, it's going to lead to change.
It's going to lead to change, but it's different than what they're thinking.
Right.
Yeah. And thus D is too strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't like C because of the human mind part.
Well, I just thought it was an inference that isn't explicit.
Yes, but see, notice what this is doing is it's an example, right? And so when you provide an example of something, you don't necessarily lay out what it is an example of. You just say, here's an example, and then you go, oh, so therefore, given the fact that they drew this conclusion, on the basis of this example, it must be an example that the author thinks does this, even if they don't go out of their way to say that.
And two, I guess, like,
Yeah.
not necessarily have a detrimental effect. It, I guess, could be seen along the same lines as, like, probably a mere alteration.
Yeah, it's weaker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that matches that language. Yeah. Any other questions on this one? Which ones are we debating? Everyone? C, D? You just didn't like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was kind of torn like with C too because I kind of found it like very dramatic,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I didn't understand the main idea of it.
Yeah. It kind of comes down
It's
to the
like
conclusion.
human mind overall. It's like okay, it's just saying an alteration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crappy question. So.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions on that one? Okay.